Let's take a look. Let's do some poll watch and we'll talk about seltzer.
Chief Rick Klein is here with our latest poll with Ipsos. And this race, Rick, I mean, it is as close as ever.
Yeah, good morning, Janae. Our ABC News Ipsos poll has Kamala Harris just out this morning in 49-46 lead over Donald Trump. That's just a tick tighter than last week when we had the lead at 4 points, but it's all well within the margin of error. And narrowing into the 7 battleground states, guess what? Nothing changes. An identical lead, 49-46 across the 7 battlegrounds. But inside the individual battlegrounds, we still see a little bit of a different story. These are our 538 polling averages. Harris leading in Michigan and Wisconsin, but by less than a percentage point. Right now, trailing narrowly in the polling averages everywhere else, including Arizona. That's 2.5 points. But again, all of this is within any polling margin of error. And there's new polls even out this morning that would suggest a tighter race, even if that's possible here.
And this is what I said about the Iowa poll, right? I said, look, you got Roe v. Wade, massively consequential. You got January 6th, which reminds everybody what they don't like about Donald Trump. You got J.D. Vance, massively consequential pick, massively awful pick for Donald Trump. That's a base pick. You already had the base. Good luck on that. You have tens of millions of dollars wasted on anti-trans ads. Shows that their priorities are in the wrong direction. Shows that they think that these are the top priorities. It's like, you're fucking stupid. Just talk about the economy, jackass. Talk about how you're anti-war, but you won't do that because you're Donald Trump. Then you have anti-immigrant screeds instead of messaging discipline on economy. Dog shit tariff plan, which was effectively countered as a mass sales tax, which I really liked. Kamala Harris's campaign has had a couple big W's. That was one of them. Okay. On the communication front, that was a very effective way of deflating the whole tariff thing because it was objectively a stupid economic policy anyway. Threatening to use the military on enemy from within, and these are the results. People are annoyed. People are mad. People are grossed out by the way that the Trumpian Republican Party operates. This is literally not anything different than the 2022 midterm red wave turning into a baby puddle. It's the same shit. The only difference between that and what's going on right now. And it's not like this isn't in the bag. I know that like libs are doing victory laps as though like the election is over, they're going to win, whatever. It's still close. I don't think people understand. It's still a toss up in my opinion, but I still favor Kamala Harris on it for how badly Donald Trump has presented himself this entire time. He's done no convincing whatsoever that he would be different somehow, or at least like try to remind people of all the good stuff about how the economy was good when he was president, and instead doing like the worst campaigning possible by sucking the microphone and complaining for 45 minutes about like audio people, or just being a racist piece of shit that is really annoying and people don't respond positively to.
And there are signs of discontent everywhere, particularly among voters for Donald Trump. But among all voters, 74% say that the country is on the wrong track going into Election Day. That includes half of Harris supporters. And wait for it, 98% of Trump voters say we are on the wrong track as a country. And 60% of voters say they are still dissatisfied with the candidates. And we finally found an area of bipartisan unity. 61% of Harris supporters and 57% of Trump supporters agree that they are dissatisfied with the candidates they are voting.
Damn, dog. I thought people loved Harris's campaigning. I thought that they thought that she was in hot shit. That's crazy. I wonder why people are saying that. I wonder how we got here again, dude. How the did that happen? Now listen, and I've repeated this time and time again. She is not Hillary Clinton, okay? She doesn't have the metric ton of dissatisfaction, distaste, anger, resentment, hatred, and conspiracy theories that Hillary Clinton had. She didn't have that. She doesn't have that, which is why, this is not the end all be all, okay? Not the worst thing. She, however, is not a very good campaigner. She's just not. She's not very, doesn't have a lot of riz. She's black. America's racist. Oh, no, for sure. That definitely plays a role. America's also sexist, too. But guess what? What do I always tell incels? You don't look at a situation that's like built against you and turn around and say, well, any guy can be 7. I do say that. You got to play to your advantages and you got to overcome your disadvantages. That's it. I would never be like, oh, this person is a black woman, so she shouldn't run for president, especially if they have dope policies. You know what I mean? It don't matter. Like what? You think she didn't realize that America was racist and that she was a black woman? running in a racist country? No, of course she knows that. What the fuck? That's precisely the reason why she didn't do the I'm with her style bullshit in the way that Hillary Clinton did.
But if the polls lined up exactly where things are in the Electoral College, if the polls are right, which is a big if, you'd have Donald Trump winning right now. 287 electoral votes, that's more than 270. But the polls, of course, are often off a little bit. So here's the scenario that Selena was talking about, the blue wall. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, if they all go for Kamala Harris, that is 270 electoral votes exactly. That means the presidency for her. For Donald Trump, a couple of different paths, but the likeliest, let's say he carries Nevada and Arizona, where he's been leading in the polling averages, Georgia and North Carolina in the South, historically more Republican. He just needs one more state, and it could be any of the big three. Pennsylvania, the likeliest and the biggest prize. That is the biggest battleground, and it is close to a must-win as we see for both candidates. There's agreement on that this year as well.
And Rick, we were talking about this behind the scenes this morning, that poll out of Iowa that now shows Harris leapfrogging, leading Trump. 3%.
Because Seltzer is like a very reputable pollster, like people were looking at Iowa being deep red normally. People were looking at this poll and being like, oh, it'll be like +5. If it's like +5 Trump, that is good for Kamala, right? That means that there is a lot of still like resentment for Donald Trump from the base. Maybe some people are not going to go out and vote. And people were looking to extract some kind of data from this that would be helpful for a like national snapshot of what the broader electorate looks like. So for this poll to just come out +3 for Kamala Harris, it was nutty. Let's continue.
Glean from that.
Yeah, well, just for starters, remember where Iowa landed last time. That was not particularly close, about an 8 or 9 point win for Donald Trump. And it's possible that this poll is on to something powerful. It could be an outlier, it could be off. But if it's right, not just about Iowa, but about some other upper Midwestern states like Wisconsin and Michigan, if we start to see women break more heavily toward Kamala Harris, that might change the landscape on election night. We'll have to wait and see, Janae.
Very interesting. Rick, thank you.
Other key findings in the Iowa poll: independent women back Harris by a 28-point margin. Senior women support her by more than a 2-to-1 margin, 63% to 28%. 97% of them support Harris, while only 89% of Republicans support Trump. Even if her poll is wrong, right? She has a incredibly strong track record of being off by like basically 1 point. That's the thing. If you look at like her last Iowa poll versus results here, this is a good example. 2022 Senate, R+12, R+12. 2020 president, R+7. Turns out it was R+8. 2027, R+4. Turns out it was R+7. 2018 governor, D+2. It's R+3. 2016 president, R+7, R+9. 2014 Senate, R+7, R+8. 2012 Senate president, D+5, D+6. So, this is as reliable as you can be. You know what I mean? There is nothing you don't get more reliable than that in terms of polling. That's where I disagree with you. Ours should be, by all accounts, absolutely crushing Dems, massive inflation, economic unrest, globally incumbent parties trash because of economic stuff, border unrest. The baseline. No, this is not a normal raise. What are you talking about? Yeah, if Nikki Haley was running right now, it would be Jover. This is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is maxed out on his base of support and has a very limited avenue to pick up new people. Okay, he was the president. He won once. He was the president for 4 years, and then he lost. It's over at that point. People have made up their minds about him. I think that's crazy to say Kamala winning is a wild upset. That's insane. If it wasn't Donald Trump, you are 100% right. But it's not someone else. It's Donald Trump. So if you're going up against Donald Trump, a person who already lost an election, yeah, it's pretty nutty that it's like this close. There are people in here who voted for Jill Stein. There are people in here who are like objectively not voting. How much do you hate Donald Trump and his stupid ass supporters? If you feel that way, then yeah, you think people who don't give a about Gaza are not feeling that way. Of course they're feeling that way. It's like very little to do with people going out and voting for, Kamala Harris's wonderful $50,000 in tax cuts for startups policy, and everything to do with, I don't want these freaks anywhere near a position of power. That's it. You are a sellout unless you react to Candace Owens' podcast series covering Kamala's ethnicity. What? That's awesome. Yeah, dude. I don't give a fuck. What are you, crazy?